Hi. Yes, hello and welcome to my second channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ashley, and if you're a returner, welcome back. If you can't tell, we are in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and behind me, the Capitol building. Let's go on a tour.
Going up.
Any sort of media, so pencils, pastels, watercolors, cameras, but
All 50 states, from everywhere?
from every congressional district, one high school student is chosen. It's displayed for a year and they swap it out.
Ah. Oh my God.
It's summer school season.
Oh, okay. This is my own personal hell. So is it always this busy? Every day?
Spring break it was this busy, summer it gets this busy, but like random days in like the middle of whenever it's not too bad.
It's not, got you. For the longest time, based on TV and movies, and maybe just my ignorance, I thought the Capitol building was the White House. So you can imagine my disappointment when I saw that the White House was just a rectangle, because the Capitol building, both are beautiful, but I thought the dome of the Capitol building was like,
She's the only one that you can touch because that's how she saw the world.
Sure.
So that was her vision and sight. She's one of Alabama's states, so each state gets two statues. It can be a gift from Congress or it can be a gift to Congress. And so then they become part of Statuary Hall. This is kind of the overflow part of it. We'll see the full Statuary Hall when we get up there, but I just like to point her out.
that's very cool. That's very neat. Yo, dude had some sick facial hair.
So this is the plaster version of the Statue of Freedom. So she was, well, the bronze version that's on top of the Capitol was casted off of. So 19.5 feet tall. This one weighs 13,000 pounds, and the one on top of the Capitol weighs 15,000 pounds. From the base of her statue to ground level is that 287 feet.
Wow.
She was not part of the original Capitol design. So the first dome, kind of plain, just a little dome shape, and then from there it went on in the 1820s to have a different design. So it was supposed to have like an oculus opening, a little bit bigger dome. Unfortunately, it looked more like an overgrown teacup, so the proportions
Not cute.
were not right.
Okay.
So she was part of that 1860s new dome shape featuring cast iron dome that weighed 8.9 million pounds.
Whoa.
She's a big girl. And then she was hoisted atop in 1863, finally completed in 1866. Fun fact about the original dome of the Capitol, they had a design contest and none of the submissions won.
Okay.
But a late entry won by Dr. Thornton. So,
Okay.
okay. So this is kind of like that first design there in 1792, Senate House, the center section dome. It was great in theory, but it just someone didn't measure right. And then we got the one we know today in the
way
1860s.
Way
Yes,
better.
yes.
Big fan of this one. She got fingernails. That's crazy. So my question, I know you gave me measurements and feet and things.
Yes.
But I need it way simpler than that. So is this an exact scale to what's on top?
Yes, the way it like kind of worked is they took this and then made the other one off of that.
Oh.
Like of the plaster version, like when they were molding and like
Okay.
doing. It's really technical in terms of like metalworking, so there's more elaborate
Sure.
process, but
Sure. But
They're
this
twins.
is that,
yes.
but different material.
Yes. I tell people, they're
Wow.
like, so what's on top, like, they're like, what's on top of the Capitol when I'm walking around? I'm like,
She is.
that's the queen, that's on top of the Capitol. This is the crypt where George Washington was originally intended to be buried. There was supposed to be like a place where you could like look down and like see George Washington's body.
Shut up. Oh, okay.
So, you know, when he did pass away in 1799, and they completed this in that 1820s version, they got a hold of Martha. They're like, hey, it's ready for George. She was like, George never really wanted that. We're gonna be buried together here at Mount Vernon. That's what we always planned on. Thanks though. So he stays at Mount Vernon, and no one else will be buried in the Capitol. But underneath this, there is a not a full casket, like what you set a casket on, and that was first used for as President Lincoln, and then most recently for President Carter. So it's been used for all the lying in states, lying in honors, and it's housed like right under here.
That's very cool.
What you see here in the center of the room is the compass stone. So this marks the geographical center of Washington, D.C.
Shut up. Like
dead
this
center.
is the center
Dead
of
center.
DC.
And then the 40 columns around the room represent a different road that leads out of the Capitol. These are hand chiseled, so on some of them, like right here, you can like see the chiseling. So like the random like brown spots, that is iron deposits in the rock. This is sedimentary rock. The iron deposits have rusted over time. So over here is the bust of Abraham Lincoln.
Stark? Tony Stark? Sorry, we're talking about Abraham Lincoln.
This was said to have been completed on the day he was assassinated. But if you look really closely, like head on, he's missing an ear. And so whether it was artistic design or
Prophecy?
out of respect that they chose.
Oh.
Prophecy too. I'll let you can make your own story.
Oh, okay.
Most likely it was out of respect for what had happened with the assassination.
Wow, an 18-year-old did this.
She also did his statue that's up in the rotunda.
Wow, incredible.
I always like to tell people, like, think about, you know, they would have had to wear the wigs and all the layers, and
Oh, yeah.
it would have been very hot because there was no central heating or air.
You know them people stank. You know it was
There's a bathtub on the Senate side, like down in the basement, that they would like go like sit in to cool off.
a communal bathtub. Love.
Yes. So these columns actually survived the burning of the Capitol in 1814 when the British came, and you can see the ears of corn on top.
Okay, the corn's fun.
Goes to that American like dream farmers.
Big fan of the corn.
So this is where the Supreme Court met from 1810 to 1860. The Senate actually met here from 1800 to 1808. Thomas Jefferson would have been inaugurated in here. So everything in here is replica except for the clock on the far wall. And they would have paid $180 for it at the time. Key cases heard in here: Dred Scott, McCulloch v. Maryland, United States v. Armistead. Like pretty big cases
Big
that
stuff.
established a lot of our judicial processes happened in here. Also, the chandelier,
Whoa. Yeah, okay.
some intern, I guess a while back, decided that it came off the Titanic. It did not, but it's a fun little story with some character.
Why does this guy over there look like the fuck? The fuck? The fuck?
This is the replica of the Magna Carta that we got for our bicentennial birthday from Great Britain. It was kind of their way to make it all about them and say, you'll never actually get rid of us. Your government's based on us. Because the Magna Carta established a parliament with the two-house system. But I like to say we did it a little bit better because our birth class doesn't determine what office you can run for in the United States. So
That's a great point.
it's just a really expensive gift that we still do better.
They tried to be petty, we pettier. but George was supposed to be here permanently.
And it was supposed to look down.
Honestly, that would have been pretty baller.
Yeah, just imagine Hill staffer on their way to the Senate and they look, George.
What's up, George? That's so neat. Why do I feel like I'm supposed to have like a gift.
I feel like the cage.
Yeah. What are they gonna do, get out?
I don't know.
I am winded.
We have more stairs.
Excellent.
So these steps actually, so like when presidents make their way through the Capitol, these are the steps. So for the 2 inaugurations that were inside, they like both walked
Well, that's
these
really
steps.
cool.
Yes, so the 2 recent inaugurations that happened inside, Reagan's second term, President Trump's second term. So
Wow.
both of those.
And they come down here, go out, or they go in there?
Typically like they come out that way,
Oh, okay.
but then they had to go up for the
Go
inside
again.
ones. But you could see like the wear in the steps and feel it like as you go up, so.
That's really cool. This is beautiful. Also, so many flowers. There were flowers above the
Tobacco
chandelier.
flowers.
Huh?
Tobacco flowers.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
Oh.
So this is the speaker's balcony, and it overlooks like the National Mall. This is like the inauguration area that you see.
So like when we're watching the inauguration, like all those people are way out there, like this there.
People are like here, and then I'm sure it like stage staggers out a little bit, and then everyone else.
This is so pretty. This is beautiful.
This is the Rotunda, so probably my favorite room here in the Capitol. So at the very top is the apotheosis of George Washington. So it's George Washington surrounded by 13 young maidens. That represents 13 colonies. Below that, an emerging technology and a Roman god or goddess. Believe it or not, steel tip plow in the railroad was an emerging technology at that time. So
That's crazy.
Costano Brigamiti painted that over the course of 11 months.
That was 11 months.
He's 73 years old at the time. He's up there painting away, doing his job, and his chair starts teetering, and he falls. But he catches himself, and he hangs on for 15 minutes, and someone comes and saves him.
At 73 years old.
73 years old. I don't know if I could do that at my age.
Yeah, I could
so props to him. Somebody did save him. He did not pass away.
That's wild.
But he was like, I'm gonna put down the paintbrush, or at least paint on the ground. And then from there, we get to the really big paintings. So these 4 were all done by John Trimble. And so the Declaration of Independence, the surrender of General Burgoyne, and then the surrender of Lord Cornwallis. If you look really closely though, that's not George Washington and Cornwallis exchanging the surrender.
Who is it?
So this little story I like to tell was Cornwallis was like, I'm sick, I'm not coming into work today. And so he sends someone else to exchange the surrender. And George is like, well, no, I'm not taking it from anybody but you.
Yeah.
So you can see George in the back with his hand on the hip, like
Bitch.
pouting. Yep. For this one right here, this is George Washington resigning his military commission. All the statues in this room are presidents except for 2. The monument for women's suffrage, that includes Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, and Lucretia Mott. The last state to come on board to give women the right to vote was Tennessee. So a state rep was undecided. He didn't know what he was going to do. His mom wrote him a letter, and then the next day he walked in wearing I want to say yellow rose or carnation.
Yeah.
Came in wearing that, and was
then-
the final vote.
Vote for us. Vote for us to vote. Okay, neat.
And then the other one that's not a president is Martin Luther King Jr.
These are the original paintings.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I forgot to mention Andrew Jackson here of Tennessee. He's the first statue that Tennessee has on this tour, but he's one of 4 presidents to be done in their military attire. So, because to him, his military service meant more than serving in a suit in the White House. This floor is a good way to know if you're on the Senate or House side. The Senate has this beautiful mosaic that is original with only a few like modifications or repairs.
Oh, wow.
There's 3 original pieces to the room. That's gonna be the Eagle and Shield, the portrait of George Washington, and then the Vice President's desk. The desk, they picked them up whenever they moved chambers to where the current chamber is now. So those are the original desks, and then these are replicas. So the caning of Charles Sumner happened back here at this Bible. So as we walk through, I like to point out any Tennessee connections. So James K. Polk is the first one right there, and then we'll come over to my other spot I like to claim. So Andrew Johnson, he was another rep out of Tennessee who served in the House of Representatives while this was the House of Reps chamber. And so these plaques indicate someone that went on to be president while out of this chamber. So we have, Tennessee has Polk and Johnson, and then after the House of Reps met here, it became Statuary Hall. So that's what it is today. They started meeting here in about 1807 with a brief intermission while they restored this room. After it was burned by the British, it had a brief intermission from 1814 to 1819. With that, they came back though. So ironically enough, this is where the War of 1812 was declared, and it was later burned down.
You've seen the inside of the Capitol, beautiful. You've seen the outside of the Capitol, beautiful. And it's even prettier at night. So our tour guide, Melinda, just told us that there's 2 hidden graffitis from the military people who helped build this called a Kilroy. And so as we're walking around, I'm gonna see if I can find the 2 little Kilroys without Google. So this is the World War II Memorial, and maybe you found me because you're interested in Washington. However you found me, actually on the main channel, I just watched a movie, a true story movie called Hacksaw Ridge, which is one of the most incredible true stories that I have ever watched. And if you want to go watch that reaction, go to my main channel, but it's about World War II, a man who worked throughout the night to save as many people as he could by himself. An incredible true story. This is called the price of freedom, and each star represents 100 American lives that were lost in World War II, representing the over 400,000 people that we lost, which is the second greatest loss in a war for America. The first one was the Civil War. But just to see, when she was explaining that to us, I was like, that's crazy. But then to like be here, each star is 100 souls. That's crazy. Little babies! Oh my goodness gracious! Look at them going. Okay, so that's Bethany and Tyler and Rebecca and Brian and Melissa and Thomas and Jehoshaphat, then you got Bartholomew, then you got Matilda, and then the mama's name is Martha. Yes, bitch, pop off. Golden hour. Yes, queen. Yes. She said that bitch is held up by gravity. No. We talked about going up there. I don't want to do that now that I know it's just gravity. Gravity. Wow, and look, we get to see a crane in its natural. There's a bug. Anyways, we get to see a crane in its natural habitat. A lot of rotundas, a lot of domes here. Thomas Jefferson was a very interesting dude. He's the 1, 2, 3 president. He's the first Secretary of State, he's the second Vice President, and he's the third president. And you probably know him best as the writer of the Declaration of Independence. And actually, we just found out that his tombstone back at his home, Monticello, actually doesn't mention being president, doesn't say anything about that. It says writer of the Declaration of Independence. Honestly, it's kind of a flex. I don't blame him. See, okay, so they need a leaf blower to get them here, these their steps, and then they need a freaking pressure washer. Look at the green dripping. Listen, I'm the first person to tell you I love a good patina, but I ain't trying to have it dripping down the walls. So Washington, D.C. is very French-inspired in the way that it's laid out. There's streets going boop, 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 and then streets going boop, 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 boop. And anyways, the monuments are no different. If you're looking at the mall, you have the Capitol, Washington Monument, and the other place that I can't remember right now. Lincoln, okay. On the T intersection, you have the White House, the Washington Monument, and the Jefferson Memorial. The White House just looks so tiny from here, you know? Woo, woo-wee. Also, how are you gonna pop a whole ass bottle of champagne on the Jefferson Memorial? That seems a little set. I don't know, girl.
Yes! Yes!
Yes, bitch, love. Yes. Live, laugh, love that for her. So it turns out Roosevelt has the largest memorial here in Washington because he served for so long. And as I'm walking through, I'm just becoming acutely aware of how many big obstacles he had to lead the country through. The Great Depression, World War II. Incredible, incredible stuff he had to work through. E.T. phone home. I love that they included their pupper. What a good boy. Why'd they have to do her collar like that? Fun fact, Eleanor Roosevelt is the only first lady to have her statue in Washington, D.C. There's no other first lady statues in D.C. They could have fixed her collar. That pisses me off. That makes me mad for you, girl. You deserved better than that. We are on to our next nighttime monument, which is the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And we just found out that this is located right in the middle, in between Jefferson, who said all men are created equal, and the Lincoln Memorial, who freed the slaves. And in the middle, you have Martin Luther King Jr. And his monument is unfinished on purpose, because now it's our job to complete the mission. The detail, the pupils even, it's incredible. Wow, Lincoln is kind of popping off tonight. Oh, Martin Luther King Jr., where he did the I Have a Dream speech. So he stood right here and gave that speech. Washington, D.C., you need to invest in a pressure washer, get that patina off of Jefferson, and get whatever the that is off of Lincoln. He looks like he's about to stand up and get off the chair. Do you see what I see? Him taking a picture of Elvis. I had no idea that it was gonna, like, I knew he was in a chair, and I knew it was gonna be big because it's a statue, but like, this is incredible. And he looks like he's about to get up. And I would love to, there's part of me that would love to read all the words that are on the sides of this, but also like, I'm getting kind of hungry, so I'm not gonna do that. Everything, number one, is so well lit, which sounds silly, but it just makes everything so much more dramatic. Like, Lincoln is stoic, but you got him lit like that, bro meant business. Are you kidding me? The Washington Monument, everything is beautiful at night. Outstanding. If you plan on coming to DC and you want to do a tour, I would highly recommend doing it at night, because during the day it is humid, it is hot, you will get swamp ass out at the wazoo. But it is pleasant. There's clearly still people, but it's just beautiful. It's totally different at night. It makes it more dramatic. That's what it is. It makes everything more dramatic. And I don't know about you, I have been known to be dramatic from time to time, so I can respect it. Honestly, I've gotten kind of emotional at some of these places. We're standing, we're walking, we're eating, where so many important people who helped build America, shape our country, have also eaten and existed and explored. And it's so cool that it's still here when I'm here. Abraham Lincoln, and I'm here. It's very neat to think about. Wrapping up our DC at Night tour with none other than the White House. Now listen, don't be going to the comment section, going to war. This isn't about politics. I'm sharing our nation's history and monuments and important places with you, and I am so excited to share the White House at night with you. Could you imagine vacuuming that place? Like, that just seems like a lot of square footage to have to vacuum. Working from home, I don't see a lot of people, and I'm like, man, I miss being social. And then I get out and I see people, and I'm like, people. Thank you so much for going on a nighttime tour of DC with me. It was absolutely stunning and breathtaking. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Now, I'm showing you where the presidents live, but next, we're showing you where the presidents ate, and I'm not talking about this. I'm eating like the presidents. So I hope you like, subscribe, stick around, that way you never miss another upload. Take your meds, drink your water. Love you. Bye. We are in Washington, D.C. I Want to get a Lincoln top hat. I gotta give Hubin props, he's a great Hubin. I'm blinking blue. Does anybody ever think about Montana? Let's be real. I mean, maybe.
Montanans.
Yeah, well, are they real? No. I might have to take them off and just shove them in my bra. The pattern is giving Louis Vuitton, but with tobacco flowers. I'm not gonna say that again. That was just for you. That was a Hubin exclusive. I farted. All right, we're very serious. I wonder how much that chandelier weighs. That big light in front. I think I've said all my things. I'm so hungry. That carpet is atrocious. No, okay, I don't speak Dutch, probably. We're getting sexy on Pennsylvania. What did I just fucking say? Did that make sense? I fucked it up.